I hope you guys are enjoying a wonderful weekend. So, we are about to start Unit 1. You do not have to start it on Monday if you are observing Martin Luther King Day, which I hope we all are. And instead, you can jump in on Tuesday. However, if you would like to spend that day, which we think of as a day of service, and perhaps diving into the week would be of service to yourself, then by all means. So what we're going to do in this first unit is really work to build a strong foundation of what are we even talking about when we're talking about positive psychology. So we're going to explore the origins of it. Now, the true origins, and I think everyone would agree with this, really go back to Eastern philosophy. There's so much about positive psychology that's rooted in Buddhism and Hinduism and different practices as such. But we're also going to look at a more modern day version, which lands us in the 90s to Martin Seligman's work as the president of the APA, where he really pushed that the field of psychology had spent way too much time focusing on trying to cure what was wrong with people and instead needed to really look at what was going right. And so we will dive into that. You're gonna be just finding terms and theories and really just trying to get your feet wet so that you are just building a foundation of what this all means. I encourage you to start this first unit building habits that are going to help you to be successful in our class. And so that means if it's Monday through Friday, you're logging into Canvas. I recommend working on this course at the same time of day just to get into the habit of that. I recommend checking to make sure that you are not only doing the daily assignment, but then going back and contributing to discussions where the assignment requires that of you. I always say by the end of this unit, you will be so accustomed to doing that, going back and revisiting old assignments to contribute to discussions, but that's a habit that has to be formed. Today, what I encourage you to do is scroll through the week until you get to the first group assignment. And I've said this to you several times. I'm going to say it one more time. We have this wonderful luxury of having students from all over the world. I'm so excited about the diversity of us. That means that as we're looking at positive psychology, we can do it through the lens of different cultures. That is powerful. That is going to drive our learning. That is something to celebrate. And it means that we have to be very careful when we're scheduling group Zooms so that we are respectful of people's time zones. Like, no one should be Zooming in the middle of the night, right? There's a way to do this that mutually respects the places where we are, which is why I always give a weekend for you guys to Zoom, because maybe doing it in the middle of the day on a weekend allows you to collectively take care of each other's times. So get that scheduled ASAP. If you're having trouble scheduling it, be in touch with me, because as I've said before, sometimes we have to break into smaller groups to make it work, and that's fine. So then once you figure out who your group is, you're going to do a small group message with just your group and me, copy me on it in Twist to start working on times that work. And you could always set up a doodle, which is an app where people say when they're available, if that makes setting it up easier. If you have questions about that, let me know. I highly recommend in this first unit printing out the calendar on the to-do page and marking it off as you go. And then as you get accustomed to the class, you can figure out your own strategy for staying organized. But I think it's helpful at first just to give you a strong start. As I've said, I can give extensions, but the only downside is that you often miss out on the discussions when you do that. So we don't want that to be a regular habit. You have to ask for those extensions ahead of time. You can just direct message me in Twist. Okay, so at the end of each Sunday message like this, I ask a question and then I ask you to direct message me the response in Twist. We do this every week, and this is just so that I know you saw this video. And the question I have this week is, I was listening to this podcast by a neuroscientist. He's an MD, and he was talking about how do we work to create new neural pathways in the brain of positive thinking. And his theory is that by really practicing that, we can counter a lot of the anxiety or symptoms of depression that exist in the brain. That if we put intentional effort into focusing on the positive, then if our brain is naturally wired towards the negative, it helps in that rewiring. So we are going to spend a lot of time intentionally focusing on the positive in an effort to encourage our brain to exist more in the things that feel good. So my question to you today is, what's going on in your life that's worth really thinking more about? What feels good? What is worth recognizing and feeling grateful for, just so that we are growing that. And for me, I just spent 2 weeks in quarantine away from my school community, which is, like I consider part of like a family to me. And so I got to come back to campus for the first time yesterday, and I just felt so warmly welcomed, and I was genuinely excited to see people, and I felt that in return. And this morning when I was on a run, which is what I do most mornings before I head to school, I just thought, like, how great, right? Like, this is my job, this is my work, and a lot of people don't feel gratitude about the community they feel at work. So I realized that that's a unique thing, and that's something that I shouldn't just like skim over. I should really celebrate it and recognize it. So that's it for me for this week. All right. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you're struggling to stay organized in any way in the course, or struggling with the material. That is what I'm here for, to help you troubleshoot that. We're in it together. I'm your support system, and use me in that way when you need to. All right. I hope you have a great week. Bye.